Hey guys, really quick, I wanted to take a second and talk about podcasting. Why? Because this medium has been the greatest thing to ever happen to me. A little over 5.5 years ago, I bought a $60 microphone and everything in my life has changed. I've gone on to build a successful business, live events, a lucrative speaking career, and I've been able to connect and become friends with some of the most influential thought leaders in the world, all because of podcasting. Now, you might not know this about me, but I've also helped multiple other people do the same thing. I usually work one-on-one with high-ticket clients to help them really build their brand. But so many people were asking me, Justin, I need to know the secret. So I've actually put together a masterclass. So if you head over to purposedrivenpodcaster.com, you can sign up for the masterclass today and learn exactly how I've been able to build this business, and you can too. This course is for wannabe podcasters and also podcasters who aren't getting the results that they want. Again, head over to purposedrivenpodcaster.com, grab your masterclass now, dive in, and take your life to the next level. Welcome to the Growth Now movement. I'm your host, Justin Shank. I'm an entrepreneur, speaker, and podcaster who years ago decided to go on a journey on how to grow in all areas of my life. What I found out was it's really a matter of focusing on the 4 pillars of life: business, relationships, spirituality, and wellness. And that's what we do here. We explore how to continuously grow in those areas, all while having a ton of fun doing it. I'm really excited you're on this journey with me. Now let's get to this week's episode. This week, I sit down with Aaron Golub. Aaron became the first legally blind athlete to play football in a Division I game when he was at Tulane University. He was a captain in his senior year and went on to also become an NFL free agent. Aaron never let his limited vision get in the way of his success. Aaron's grit, determination, and effort enabled him to earn a spot on the Tulane team and the respect of his teammates, coaches, and fans. Aaron began playing football in 7th grade and worked extremely hard to get where he is today. His goal is to show others that it doesn't matter what they are fighting or what their perceived limitations are. Anything is achievable. With hard work and tuning out the judgment of others, his planning, passion, and perseverance enables him to be successful. Aaron has paved the way for others with disabilities and shown that the impossible is possible. I think you guys are going to love this conversation that I've had with Aaron. He's a really, really great guy doing big things, including 7 TEDx talks, which is ridiculous. And we talk about that in this episode as well. But, it's a quick one. I think you guys are going to love it. It's super inspirational. Definitely dive in and enjoy it. Now, before we get there, I want to remind you guys that Growth Now Summit Live is coming in May. We just announced Kelly Chase as one of the movement makers from the Netflix hit show Love is Blind. She's going to be there. So come, hang out, learn, grow, connect. It is going to be a life-changing experience. Head over to growthnowsummit.com. Get your tickets today. Prices are going up in about a week or two. So again, it's growthnowsummit.com. I cannot wait to see you there. Now, without further ado, let's get to the episode with Aaron Golub. Aaron, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, Justin, thanks so much for having me here.
No, for sure. We have a couple mutual friends and we've pinged each other on social media, and now here we are. We get to have an incredible conversation and we get to share it with my audience, which I'm really excited about, man. And where I want to start is where I really start with everybody is like, who is Aaron today? And then we'll unwrap how you got there.
Yeah. I mean, today, realistically, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm striving to build 2 different businesses and accomplish my goals in all areas of life. That's really who and what I am right now. And, extremely busy person, but love everything I'm doing.
No, I love it, man. And striving to do what you love and doing these things obviously is your story, right? Like, as people hear this, people who don't know who you are, like I can start out by saying you were a D1 athlete and you played college football for Division I. And then I'm going to follow that up with you're also legally blind. And you were the first person to ever do that, which is insanely inspirational to so many people who want to live out their dreams. But I want to go back a little bit into your life. Like, what was that driving force? What was that thing that was like, I want to play football even though I have these potential limitations?
No, in the beginning, I started playing football in 7th grade, and it was just a love for the game. I wanted to be a part of a team, a part of something greater than myself. And at that time, it wasn't about being the best player. It was about, like I said, being part of the team, improving, growing every single day. You didn't need to be a fantastic athlete at the seventh grade level. Everyone was, learning, growing on a daily basis, becoming more athletic. And so at that time, it was a genuinely, love for the game, be a part of a team, be a part of something.
Yeah. So, in seventh grade, I imagine there had to be something going on in your head. Like, should I do this? Should I try this? Obviously not being able to fully see. And I want you to explain that a little bit, like as far as what your limitations are and stuff, just so people understand.
Yeah.
But what was it about you in seventh grade? Most kids would be like, I can't play football because of this issue.
Yeah. So first off, my vision is I'm legally blind. I have no vision in my right eye, very limited in my left. My vision is 2200 in my left. And so what that means is if you have perfect vision, what you would see at about 200 feet away, I see at about 20. I'm looking through kind of a small, tiny hole, about like half the size of a dime. And it's, a lot harder for me to, see from that hole than obviously you would with better vision. From there, I didn't really have those thoughts or feelings going into seventh grade. I played pretty much every sport in the book growing up, a lot of individual sports, a lot of team sports, nothing really stuck. I tried baseball, basketball, soccer, I tried lacrosse, I tried hockey, like literally everything. Nothing was a good fit. Nothing was the best area. And obviously I knew I couldn't be a quarterback or a wide receiver, but in the beginning it was like, okay, what can I do to be a part of the team? And so I was an offensive defensive lineman. It was just hit the person in front of you, block them, tackle them, whatever, just hit the person in the other color jersey. And so for the first couple of years, that was fine.
Yeah. And I love that. I love the idea of like, look, I'm just going to give it a try. Like most people are afraid to give it a try because society gives them a limiting belief, and society says, oh, you're blind, you can't do this. Oh, you're too small, you can't do this. Oh, you don't have the GPA, you can't go be that. And that's something I talk about a lot, as far as breaking through limiting beliefs. And, when I look at your story, it's the true factor of just try, right? Now, who was your support system going through this? Was it coaches, teammates? Was it your parents? Like what was the background there?
Yeah. I mean, my parents did an amazing job raising me and always being there for me. Both my mom and my dad have done a ton, whether it be driving me to go practice really early in the morning, taking me to camps all around the country. But outside of them, yeah, my coaches were great. They were supportive. My teammates, obviously most people didn't think I could play football at the level I wanted to. And, I was really the only one for a long time that thought I could do that. But other people learned to see that through my hard work. But just because they didn't, most people didn't believe that I could do that didn't mean that they didn't support me or want to see me succeed in whatever capacity they thought I could.
Sure. Yeah. And that's such an interesting thing. Like your idea of, hey, I'm going to be a D1 athlete. And then other people saying, well, they set kind of this limit on me saying, I shouldn't be able to do that. Oh, they might support me. They want me to be successful, but they put this limiting cap on who they thought you could be, which is kind of interesting to think about. Now, what was the shift of, okay, this is just fun to, oh, hold on, I'm kind of good at this. I might be able to pursue something.
I think so. In my sophomore year of high school, I was a third string junior varsity offense and defensive lineman. Not good. And basically said, I'm sick of this. I've had enough of this. What can I do to play on varsity, start, play in college, play Division I, play at the highest level I can? And I found long snapping, and I kind of came up with two ideas. And the first was, if I get good enough at long snapping, it's such a niche position, then maybe I'll have an opportunity to play in college. The second part, I need to work 10 times harder than everyone else just to be as good as them. And so when most people say that they're the hardest working person in the room, they really don't know what hard work is. You might go to your 9 to 5 and, work hard. You might be the hardest working person at practice or be the one who studies the most for the exam when everyone else is around. That's not hard work. Hard work is doing the things that no one wants to do when no one else is around. So from 10th grade on, I would get up at 5 a.m. every day, go practice long snapping, go to school, go to practice, lift weights during the week, on the weekends, whatever it took, because I knew what I had to do to be successful. It wasn't about those 2 hours of practice after school, practicing and becoming the best person that I could be. It was about doing what no one else would do when no one else would do it.
Dude, I love that. And you can clearly tell that you have this incredible mindset to go after whatever it is you decide that you're going to do. Right. So talk to me a little bit about that work ethic. I mean, obviously you say get up at 5 a.m., but what was that like and who was kind of guiding you? Because I know damn well when I was a sophomore, junior in high school, I was not getting up at 5 a.m. for anything, especially on the weekends. So who was that person pushing you?
It was myself. I think way too many people get caught up in this idea of external motivators. And I talk about this a lot. And there's a big difference between internal motivation and external motivation. And the thing there is external motivators are things that, if I want to go to the gym and I want to squat 500 pounds, I'm going to go in there and think of an external motivator that's going to get me mad, pissed off, whatever, for the next 2 minutes to help me get in the right mindset, the mentality to do that. But it's exactly that. It's 2 minutes, it's an hour, it's a day. It's not going to carry you long term. If you want to achieve something great, you have to have that internal motivation. Your reason, your why always has to be, I want to do this to prove to myself that I can do this. If you're ever doing something in life that is, I want to do this because others don't think that I can do it, that's going to get you a day or a week, but it's not going to get you 5 years. It's not. You're going to get burnt out. And so the people who truly see success in whatever it is in life, whether it be business or sports or anything, it's those who have that internal motivator to accomplish their goals.
I love that, man. And it's so true, because those things that are on the outside, like you mentioned, they're fleeting, right? They're going to disappear. It's only going to last for a short amount of time. But when you tie something to a purpose, it's so much greater. So what was your purpose going into this? Like, why were you so driven to get to be a D1 athlete and play college football?
I mean, really, honestly, the same thing, just to prove myself that I could do it. Like, why not? I just wanted to do it. I love football. I love playing. I wasn't excited about the idea of stopping playing or playing at a lower college level. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It just wasn't for me. And my goal is I want to play at the highest level possible. And that's what drove me.
Yeah. Now, obviously shifting into entrepreneurship and, the neat part is you got to D1, you played in a couple games, and you were able to be successful at that level and live this life that you really set out to do. Obviously this took, as you mentioned, a lot of hard work, a lot of discipline, a lot of early mornings, late nights, all the things in between. I want to shift a little bit and talk a little bit more about that similar mindset in entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
With you building 2 businesses right now, what has that been like? What have you taken from the work ethic you put into football and brought it into your business life? And what's that look like for you?
Yeah. So, right now I'm building 2 businesses, like you said, and one's in finance and one's in speaking. And I think it comes down to 3 areas. It's being the hardest working person out there, being the most creative person out there, and not listening to others' opinions. It's too many people compare themselves to others. There's tons of speakers out there right now that make more money speaking than I do. But my goal at the end of the day isn't to be a speaker that, makes $100,000 a year from speaking. In 5-10 years from now, I'm going to be on stage talking with Tony Robbins, making an insane amount of money on a daily basis, because that's what I know that I'm going to do. And it's a long-term game, and I play it as a long-term game. I'm not there for short-term wins. Everything that I do is strategic, and I think it through, because I know the relationships I have to build and the things that I have to sacrifice to get where I want to go. I could go out and probably make a lot of money really quick by doing certain things, but that's going to end. It's not going to kind of create the long-term success that I want. I think anyone could do that. Anyone could make a lot of money in a short time frame and then fall off, and that's all of their success. But it's the people who play the long game, who understand how to build relationships, who understand how to create the true future in all areas of their life that they want. And that when you do that systematically, it takes time, and it doesn't happen in 3 months. It happens over a long period of time.
Yeah, definitely that compound effect. I was on David Meltzer's show about 6 months ago or so, and we talked about that compound effect, that 1% every single day, keeping your eye on the goal, but not that being the end all be all, right? There's so much more to life than hitting those goals. One thing I talk about often is like, look, you can have a goal of making $1 million, and I applaud you and want you to go make that $1 million. But the second you make it, you're immediately going to go, okay, how do I make 10? There's no fulfillment in that. And what I'm hearing from you, and I may be wrong, but what I'm hearing from you is you have fulfillment in putting in the work, putting in the effort, finding those little wins along the way, but also understanding that big vision of where you want to go. Does that seem pretty accurate?
Yeah. I mean, look, anyone who says that money doesn't matter to them is probably lying. And as an entrepreneur, yes, the money matters to me. And it's probably my number 2 or 3 thing, but it to build a successful business, it can never be the number 1 thing, is my opinion. It has to be in the top 3. If you want to be a true entrepreneur, you have to focus on how to make money. It's just That's what being an entrepreneur is. But it can't be the number one thing if you're focusing on the long term. If you're focusing on how much money can I make in the next 6 months, okay, it's number one thing, great, but then you're done. If you're focusing on how do I build a successful business that's sustainable, all right, making money can be number 2 and 3, or 2 or 3, but you have to have something ahead of it to get you to that point.
No, for sure, man. No, and I love that. And obviously money, I believe money is a byproduct of the passion and the hard work you put in. Like, at the end of the day, if you can figure it out the right way, money chases you, right? And you can just live in your zone of genius and continue to move forward, and the right people will find you, and you'll work with them, which is so true. And I believe in abundance in all areas, including financially, for myself and anybody I work with. So, as I look at your trajectory and where you're headed, I love that you said, I'm going to be on stage with Tony Robbins, right? What is it about Tony Robbins and that vision that you're like, that's my driving factor?
It's not necessarily him, but it's those types of people. It's Tony Robbins, it's Les Brown, it's Ed Mylett, it's Grant Cardone, it's Eric Thomas, it's all of them. It's being on that caliber of speaker. I don't want to be that speaker who goes and talks to companies and, makes a good amount of money, but really only gets hired, every, once a month and, does well. But I want to be that person who is on stage with those types of people, is impacting millions of lives on a daily basis. I mean, yeah, they make a lot of money doing it, but at the end of the day, they're impacting an incredible amount of lives and helping so many people at a time. And, that's the goal when it comes to speaking. It's not just to go into companies. I mean, yes, in the short term, it's okay. Get booked at companies, get booked at teams, get booked at, whatever I can to get practice, to get my name out there more. And that's what I do. But 5-10 years down the road, I think most of my speaking, I want to just be, those types of huge events where I'm really making an impact on more people.
Sure. No, I get that, man. And it says on your website, you're a 7-time TEDx speaker, which is crazy. Most people haven't even done it once, and you've done it 7 times.
That's, it's actually funny. So I think you also know Jeff Lopes, correct?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So Jeff and I are very close, and we were talking at the beginning of this year, probably February-ish. And I was like, man, I've done fine over speaking over COVID, but there's obviously hasn't been a ton of opportunities in person or, paid opportunities, or as many as I would like. And we came up with the idea of like, why not find a way to do something else to get yourself out there? And so I was like, all right, let's try and book like 2 TED Talks. That was my goal. And I started doing a lot of outreach, and I'm actually releasing something probably in a few weeks from now, just to explain exactly how I did it. But through all that outreach, I went from let's do 2 to I've booked 7, and I potentially have like 3 more over the next few months. I've done in like a 4-month time frame. I presented 7 TED Talks. It was nuts. It was just like, it's great to have on my resume. I don't think I'll ever do it again after the ones that I have booked are done. But it was cool to get on my resume and cool to kind of do that.
No, for sure. Now, I saw a couple of them. I haven't seen all 7. Are they all based around the same messaging, or how, like, so to come up with 7? Because like TED Talks are like, that's your staple. Like, this is my statement, right? Yeah. So to do 7 of them, what did that look like?
They are all similar, but variations. So the way that TED Talks work is at each event, they have kind of like a theme. And so like the one I did at like Bentley University, their theme was like the 25th hour. And so my talk for them was, about treating your time as your currency and talking about my story and things like that. Other TED Talks, there was one that I did about how to turn your disadvantages into your advantages. So they were all, about my story and about my message, but tailored towards what the theme of the event was.
Yeah, no, I love that, man. And I the one I saw pop up first was like making the impossible possible, and what I'm seeing with you is obviously you've already done it once. You hit that D1 school, you played D1 as a long snapper, you've done all these things, you've had the success. Mm-hmm. And then beyond that, you're doing it again now in business, not only one realm of business, but 2, you're in the financial space and with public speaking. And the public speaking game, mind you, I've been fortunate enough that, because my podcast does well, I've been booked and stuff like that, but it's not something I've overly pursued. Yeah. I've looked into it. it's a tough game. There's a lot of people doing it. And so I totally see where you're headed, man. And so one thing that I love about doing this podcast is I have the opportunity to sit down and interview some of the world's most successful people, Dean Graziosi and Bert Kreischer and Ed Milet and Gabby Bernstein and all the most amazing people in the world. So my question for you is something I asked every single person, and it's a two-part question. The first part is, what's your definition of success? The second part is, what are 3 things you do every single day to ensure that success for yourself?
Yeah, I think success is about fulfillment in all areas of your life. And so, like we said before, it's not just about money. It's about having a great mindset. It's being successful spiritually, physically, relationships, every single area of your life. I don't want to be, in 20 years, extremely wealthy, but no good relationships, out of shape, a terrible mentality. That's not success to me. Success is well-rounded and achieving your goals in every single area of your life to truly be fulfilled.
Yeah. And what are 3 things you do every day to make sure you're ensuring that success?
Yeah. I think it's not necessarily 3 specific things. I could tell you that, I have a morning routine or I do X, Y, or Z, but to be honest, that varies for everyone. I think that, what someone does is right for them and not for others. One thing I talk about a lot is like, I wake up at 5 a.m. and go to the gym, but that's because I like to do that. And I like to work out when no one's going to be messaging me. It's great. Now, if someone's going to bed at midnight every day, should they wake up at 5 a.m.? No, they should not. I like to wake up early in the morning, and it's not the right thing for everyone. And so I think for me, it's not necessarily 3 specific things, but going back to something I said earlier, it's about being the hardest working person in the room every single day, being the most creative person I can be every single day, and not worrying about others' opinions every single day. And I think those are the 3 things that if I focus on those areas every day, they compound and I get better every single day, and eventually they'll add up.
Dude, I love that you said be the most creative I can be every single day, because so many people look at themselves, and if they're not some sort of artist or whatever, they don't look at themselves as a creative. But I think every single person creates daily, whether it's social media or podcasts or whatever, you become a creative. So what do you do to get your creative juices flowing? I think that's important for a lot of entrepreneurs to hear.
I think just trying to take a step back. I love working out, so I think I probably do my best thinking when I'm lifting weights and in the gym is definitely a top kind of thing for me. It's just who I am. But for me, it's creativity looks different for everyone, and so it might just be, how can I get in touch with this prospect I want to talk to in finance or a company for speaking? What is the best way to do it? And most people might say, oh, just send them an email or do X, Y, and Z. Well, great, but they might get 500 of those. So taking a step back and figuring out what is the most creative way for me to make myself stand out? How can I actually get to them? And that's what being creative is in my world. It's, I'm not painting a picture. I'm not, drawing something. I'm not an artist, but it's about being creative in my outreach, creative in my strategy.
Yeah, dude. Love it, man. I absolutely love it. So I wrap up every single interview with the same question, but before we get there, how do people get a hold of you? How do they get your information? What's all the good stuff?
Yeah. So you can go to aarongolub.com. You can fill out a form there and get in touch with me. Also feel free to go to my Instagram or Twitter at Aaron J. Golub. I'm also on LinkedIn and, really anywhere. Send me a message. I will respond. It might not be right away, but I will respond.
Dude, love it, man. So, you mentioned Instagram and LinkedIn. I have a love-hate relationship with LinkedIn. It's leaning towards more of a hate relationship. You accept somebody within 10 seconds, they're trying to sell you something. So what's your go-to social media platform, and how are you utilizing it to help continue to face you forward as the incredible entrepreneur that you are?
Yeah. For speaking, it's really Instagram. For finance, it's more LinkedIn, and it's how I have to separate those types of things. I wish compliance allowed me to do everything on all platforms and, post my speaking stuff on LinkedIn, post my finance stuff on Instagram, but unfortunately it doesn't. But when it comes to the speaking side, it's mostly Instagram.
Dude, I love it, man. And that's so true. Like you have to do different things on different platforms and it'll perform differently depending on what it is and so on and so forth. But I love it. So like I said, I wrap up every single interview with the same question. Since the podcast is called the Growth Now Movement, my question for you is, in your life, what has been your biggest moment of growth?
I think understanding the fact that to achieve your goals, you need to put your ego aside. You need to learn from others, have mentors, have coaches, have people in your life that you can learn from that have been more successful than you. And I think that a lot of people, especially younger people around my age, think that they either can do everything on their own or need to do everything on their own. And I'm sure I've been guilty of that in the past as well. But I think understanding that in order to see the most growth, like why would I struggle for the next 5 years to accomplish a goal when I could go talk to someone, or in some instances pay someone to learn that in the next 5 hours? Like it doesn't make sense to me. And I think that's how I, find growth.
Dude, that's such good advice. And, I've learned that in my life. I know that I'm older than you. I've learned that in my life. I just wish I learned it at an earlier age, because the second you admit I can't do this on my own and you go and hire that coach or join that mastermind or buy that course or listen to the right podcast or whatever it is, that's when everything changes. That's when your progression goes from what could be 5 years, like you said, to 5 hours. And that's the mind-blowing thing, man. Aaron, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story and your journey and your wisdom with my audience, man. This has been absolutely phenomenal. So thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
Thank you guys so much for being a part of the Growth Now movement. This is how you can really help me out. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please share it out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that fun stuff. And let's grow this movement to epic heights. And it's all going to be because of you guys. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next week.